All right. So if you were looking to make this year your year for fitness transformation, I want to give you seven, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 tips for how you can really achieve your fitness transformation and even change your health overall. Okay. So make sure you take some notes. Number one, start small. Now, I understand the new year has just started and you're chomping at the bits to start that new thing, get into the gym, get into the fitness class, do the fitness challenge, do the eating challenge, whatever. I know, but I'm recommending that you start small at first for two reasons. One, you need to prove to yourself that you're going to be consistent. And sometimes what happens is we like to go bust, out of the from the starting line and then just do all this stuff, but we do it in an unsustainable way. But I always recommend people to start somewhat small so that you can show yourself that you can be consistent with something. That helps you start getting it integrated into your lifestyle and just into your mind in general. Another reason that starting small is important is because it helps you to prevent injury. From a fitness standpoint, you want to be careful if you were sitting on the couch and then you go into some hyper ultra vigorous hip hop aerobics class. You don't want to get in there and pull a muscle, or worse, you don't want to be where you probably need to get checked out beforehand because your cardiovascular system is not used to that kind of stress right now. Maybe it would have been if you eased into it, but that's what I'm saying. You don't want to be passing out and stuff like that. All right, number two, do strength training and cardio. Now, when I say strength training, some of you probably automatically think big bulky muscles and Arnold Schwarzenegger and all these kind of people. I'm not talking about getting big and bulky like that. What I'm talking about is you training your muscles so that you don't lose them, because muscle is a very healthy tissue for you to maintain and even to build. Now, and even when it comes to building the muscle, it doesn't mean you got to get bulky. For strength training, you need to either be doing calisthenics or you need to be doing weightlifting or something that is challenging your muscles, okay? In that manner, like specifically to strengthen them or to make them grow, or both. Now, if you don't have any experience in that, like whatsoever, you might need to get a trainer. I am a certified personal trainer. I'm not doing training like that, but I have videos, including my mini workout library, which is all body weight strength training exercises. You can look in the description for that. But anyway, if you don't have any experience, get some help. On the cardio side of things, it's a lot of different things you can do, but walking is just fine. Walking is just fine if you start with that. Matter of fact, walking is one of the most accessible and one of the best cardio exercises you can do. And if you want to make it slightly challenging, walk in a hilly area, or if you're walking indoors, incline your treadmill or use some stairs or something like that. Number three, very important, do enough. I can't overemphasize this. Sometimes the reason why you didn't get the results the last time you tried to transform your body is because you just didn't do enough. And that's real. I know that from personal experience. So when it comes to strength training and cardio, you need to be doing at least 3 days a week where you hit each of those. At least 3 days a week. Now, I think it's the American College of Sports Medicine recommends 150 minutes per week of moderate intensity cardio to maintain your body weight. 150 minutes a week. So that's like 30 minutes 5 times a week. Or if you want to start to change your body weight, they recommend 250 minutes a week. So that's 50 minutes 5 times a week as a minimum. So just use that to kind of help you kind of think about this thing. But you need to be starting with at least 3 days per week minimum of cardio, 3 days per week of strength training. Because on the strength training side, that's going to ensure that you stimulate your muscles enough to make the muscle get stronger, make the muscle grow. Because here's the thing with muscle, and this is what I definitely know from my personal experience. especially if you want your muscles to grow, if you want to notice a change, you have to provide enough stimulus. Your body's going to respond to whatever it is you're consistently doing and whatever you do in a high volume of. It's the same reason why um like if you played baseball, or let me use this example. If you skateboard, over time, you're gonna notice one of your legs is bigger than the other one because you're gonna favor one leg for pushing off and whatnot. So your body adapts to whatever you keep on doing, and it's the same way for strength training in general. Another thing I mean by when I say do enough is you need to do this stuff for enough time to actually see if it's working or not. And a lot of times, what happens is we give up very easily because we're like, man, this stuff ain't working. I don't see no changes and things like that. But it's not that it's not working. It's just that the changes are happening at a level that you can't quite see yet. And unfortunately, a lot of us give up before we actually start to see the change. And then any changes that we experience that were more or less unseen, those will go away. So that's why it's so important. Keep on going. You haven't done it nearly long enough if you haven't done it at least a month. Okay. I know that from personal experience because I was doing all these strength training routines and I kept on changing up. And it was only until I got on one routine and did it again and again and again and again and again. I turned around, it's like, oh man, look at my arms, look at my chest. So I started seeing the results after I did the same thing for over a month, to be honest. All right, number 4, change your diet. It goes without saying. However, I'm still saying it because there's still people out there, hopefully you're not one of them, who are hoping you can go out there and do all this exercise and still keep on eating a whole load of junk food. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. So when I transform my body from about 15 or so percent body fat to about 10% body fat, I had to go very, very clean. Now, I was doing a lot of activity and stuff as well, but I had to go very clean. And even when I got to about 10% body fat, I still had some stubborn belly fat that it was hard to get rid of. And it's because I still had to go to the next level to get ultra lean if I wanted to do that. But I decided that's kind of like where I wanted to stop. I didn't necessarily see a need for getting ultra lean. But anyway, don't fool yourself. You're not going to do enough to keep from gaining fat if you're just eating a whole lot of like junk food and things like that. I often mention Michael Phelps, the swimmer who won all those medals back in 2008. Dude was eating 15,000 calories a day, but he was swimming 6 hours a day. He didn't have a full time job. That was his full time job. Most of us don't do that. We don't have an active full time job, and then if we do, it's not swimming. Swimming is probably like the most vigorous exercise you can do. It's full body, and it just really gets you going. Really burns calories. So you got to change your diet. Now, specifically, I'll just kind of compile a few things that are going to get you the quickest results. But now you got to be dedicated to it, though. I'm not saying this for until you get to the summer. I'm talking about period. One, you need to eliminate sweet drinks of all kinds. Okay. Two, stop eating after dark. So once it gets dark these days is really honestly about 7, at least here on the East Coast, or probably even before then. You want to kind of start winding down, especially when it's ultra dark, and then you need to stop eating. Then you need to eliminate processed foods and even significantly reduce the healthy carbohydrates like potatoes and grains if you can tolerate those, like whole grains. With the healthy carbs, maybe do them like once a day. That is, if you really want to lose fat, those are your high energy foods. And so you switching those out in favor of non-starchy vegetables, which I'm gonna talk about here in a second, is gonna really help you to reduce that energy load. Of course, it's gonna increase your nutrients as well, but it's gonna help you reduce that energy load so that you're not spiking your insulin so much and storing all that fat. And then finally, eat a lot of non-starchy vegetables, mainly your leafy greens, but that includes, onions and garlic and tomatoes. Tomatoes technically a fruit, but you know what I mean. Um, all your non-starchy vegetables, eat tons of those. Eat a ton of them because again, those are good for you anyway. And they're so low in calories that you don't have to worry about counting calories. I don't count calories, by the way. All right, step number 5. Find something you enjoy. Sometimes we think that because we see some fitness personality who's doing all this convoluted, ultra hard stuff, even if we have no desire to do that, we feel like we have to do it because she's doing it or he's doing it. You don't. Find something that you enjoy. Case in point. Um, and this isn't exercise related, but I'm using it to prove a point. I was talking to my daughter, um, who my daughter's very intelligent. Both of them are. My oldest daughter, I was talking to her, and she learned to read at a very early age. And I was explaining to her that it wasn't hard for us to teach her because she always wanted the knowledge. And she kind of explained to me now, she explained that she likes to study things that that she's interested in. Okay. But then in school, whenever they give her things that she's not as interested in, even though she does well in them, it's harder to motivate her to do that kind of stuff. Same thing goes for fitness. It's going to be harder for you to do something that you actually don't like. So you might as well work with who you are and what you like. So for me, I like strength training. I like to do calisthenics. I like sprinting. So that's a big part of what I do. So I do, 400 meters. Well, those end up being more so like 75% sprints because those are hard. I like doing hill sprints. I love hill sprints. Matter of fact, I'm gonna do some later on today. I like playing basketball. I haven't done that in a while, but I plan on in 2025. I will get back on the basketball court. So these are things I enjoy. Therefore, these are things I do. I like riding my bike. So that's something that I also do. All right. So step number 6: be honest with yourself. And I talked about this in my live this morning. You have to be honest with yourself and see what have I actually tried to do that has not worked. So that's one of the biggest issues for people who are setting New Year's resolutions for fitness every single year and not reaching it. And then if you look back and pay attention to your approach, you've taken the same approach every time. You've been trying to, like they say, fit a square, uh, was it a square into a circular hole or something like that, or vice versa. Either way, you've been trying to fit something into your life that just is not working. Something has to change, but you have to be honest enough to be like, okay, hold on a second. I keep on doing this. Something has to change in my approach. Also, be honest with yourself about what has worked. What has worked? What have you actually gotten results with? If you look back, you got results. More than likely, you've gotten results some kind of way. So figure out what that way is, okay? Figure that way out. All right. Last but definitely not least, step number 7, the most important thing. You need to change your mindset. I also want to say it like this: change your perspective, change the way that you see things. All right. Like I say, this is the most important thing because your body only does whatever it follows your mind. It gets the signal from here and it does whatever. So even though a lot of us tend to operate from our feelings, we tend to operate from body to mind instead of mind to body. We just kind of do whatever we feel. Change your mindset, change your perspective. Check this out. This is just very plain. It's cliche, but it's the truth. You have to do something different to get different results. This kind of goes into what I was just saying. You can't expect to do the same stuff and then have it work some sort of different thing. It's not going to happen. You have to be willing to do something different to get different results. Now, that means this too. You must be willing to be uncomfortable. In our society, we have a ton of options that promise to cut out the work and give you the results that you want. I think about all the infomercials when I was coming up on diets that will let you eat anything that you want to and still lose weight. And the thing is, and I've grown to not really care for stuff like that because I think it's unrealistic. I think it's unhealthy as well. It gives you a mindset that you should always be seeking, some sort of indulgent pleasure. But the thing is, we have to understand, like we have to learn to give our bodies what they need, and that can actually be enjoyable once you do it. It's just that a lot of the foods that we manufacture, the processed foods, are hyper sugar, hyper salted, et cetera, et cetera. And so we get used to these, and then we don't want to give them up because, to be quite honest, we become addicted to those things. So the point I'm making is, if you want lasting weight loss, if you really want to transform your fitness, transform your physical body, you got to be willing to get uncomfortable. I don't I don't necessarily like the feeling of being tired. When I do those 400-meter intervals that I do, I don't like it. I don't. But what has happened is I've gotten used to that feeling, and I just know that that's what it takes, and so I just do it. When I do strength training, the part I like is not the strenuous nature of it. It is once I finish it, when I accomplish it, once I get my rep counts in, once I see the results, that's what I keep on going for. And so I know that muscle tension and whatever is what I have to feel to be able to get the results. You got to be willing to be uncomfortable. And if there's any option that promises to eliminate the work or to give you results for nothing, then I'll be very cautious of that. Okay. So understand this though. When it comes to getting uncomfortable, that's how it usually starts when you're doing something new. Or even I say when you're doing something that's good for you. But you have to understand that that will become your new normal. And what I mean by that is you'll get used to it. It'll get to where it's not as hard anymore. You'll get to a point where you start to miss fruits and vegetables. You get to a point where you start to miss, like, if you didn't work out, you'd be like, man, I wish I had gone on my walk, or I wish I went to the gym. You'll start to miss it in your day. So you'll get used to it. It'll come to a point where it becomes second nature, just like brushing your teeth or something like that. Okay. And then this last part I want to say about changing your mindset, changing your perspective is you have to plan ahead. You have to be the type of person that kind of forecasts into the future a little bit, because there will come times when you experience, especially if you're trying to shoot for a certain body weight, there'll come times when you plateau. It's natural. Your body's always kind of seeking like a, what do you call it, homeostasis or equilibrium. You'll get to these points where you kind of like stall out, and it's not a bad sign. It just means that you need to reevaluate. If you're wanting to get, if it's another weight that's a healthier weight for you, then you need to evaluate everything at that point and see, and change something. Of course, always in a healthy manner. I'm not talking about some sort of crash diet stuff, anything like that. I'm talking about something that you can sustain. But the reason why I say that is because you have to plan ahead for that. You have to know that that kind of thing will happen. If you're doing a fitness class and it's like a lady in my town who's doing a fitness boot camp here soon. I think it's a 6-week boot camp or something like that. If you know this thing ends in 6 weeks, go ahead and start to decide at least halfway through, know what you're going to do next. What are you going to do to continue that's going to help you to stay motivated and whatnot? Plan ahead, because if you don't become the type of person that plans ahead, then that means you are planning ahead for failure. Okay. All right. So that's my 7 steps to help you to achieve your fitness transformation in this new year. Let me know which tip means the most for you. Which one really hits you the most? All right. As we get older, it becomes increasingly important to maintain and build muscle. Muscle helps you burn fat, stay mobile, and can contribute to longevity. However, many people have no idea how to work out to build muscle. My mini workout series on Patreon provides you with my body weight mini workout video library. These workouts use little to no equipment, which means that you can do them in the privacy of your own home. They start at beginner level and progress from there to ensure you continue to see results. Every workout is a full body workout, hitting chest, back, legs, and glutes, as well as other muscles in between. Become a patron today and receive access to my series of mini workouts, plus access to a digital copy of my book, 8 weeks to transform your diet and your health. By combining the workouts with healthy diet changes, as outlined in my book, you'll definitely be on your way to weight loss, improved health, and visible results. Join me at patreon.com/SeanB2B Fitness today.